Hello and welcome to another SkaredCast Battle Report. Today we're playing 1850 points of Dark Eldar and Coven formation versus 1850 points of Ultramarines, Grey Knights and Inquisition allies. Let's get this bloodbath started. Playing against Matt, once again, and his optimized Centurion star list of doom. So we have Tiggy, Kotiaz, Inquisitor, Grey Knight Librarian, Centurions with Hurricane Bolters and Grav Guns, 5 Scouts, 2 units of Dread Knights that jump and have heavy incinerators, 3 Acolyte units with 1 Psyker Acolyte, 1 Homing Beacon Acolyte, 3 Razorbacks with Cybolt ammunition, and 2 units of Grey Knight Terminators with Psy Cannons. So that is 1850 points. He is working on them, so please be easy on him. It will be painted within the next couple of weeks, so we'll make sure we have a full game when it's completely done. Against 1850 points of Dark Eldar, similar to the list that I played against Jason, against the demons, except I dropped the Scourge and dropped the Lances on one of the Razor Wings and added another unit of Cabalite Warriors in a Venom and dropped some Liquefy Guns and gave my Homunculus some war gear. So, let's go to deployment. A Grey Knight Inquisitorial Ultramarine deployment. Dread Knight in the flank. Razorback with Acolytes and stuff. Razorback with Acolytes and stuff. Big Centurion star. Did not get Gate, did not get Invisibility, but they can ignore cover, they can have a full plus invulnerable save, and they can re-roll.
Can be increased to a 3+.
Can be increased to 3+ with Sanctuary or whatever. And then another Dread Knight. In reserve, the Scouts are outflanking, 2 units of Grey Knight Terminators are deep striking. The Dark Eldar rolled off and chose to deploy first, to try and go first. You're leaving 2 units of Cabalite Warriors in reserve, and then putting all 5 Venoms deployed empty, all 3 Ravagers deployed out. The Grotesquerie with the Archon in that Raider, and the Homunculus in this Raider. They rolled Fleet for their special roll this game, and thanks to my Archon, it is indeed Night Fight on turn 1. Inquisitor Kotiaz is going to try and seize initiative, but the mission itself is a kill point mission. But because it's a Nova mission, each player gets to choose what way to do their kill points. Matt has chosen regular kill points, where he'll get 1 point for each unit of mine he kills, but he only gets the difference of that minus the number of kill points I get. And I took a modified kill point mission where each unit is able to get a maximum of 1 kill point, and each of his units is maximum 1 kill point. And the difference is of that, mitigating my multiple small units against his Death Star. So now we're going on to the siege, and secondary objectives are kill First Blood for both Matt and I, because we get to pick 3 secondary objectives. He went to try and kill all my troops, my foot troops of 5 Cabalite units of warriors on foot, not the dedicated transports. I'm trying to get Linebreaker at the end of the game. So is Matt trying to get Linebreaker at the end of the game. And I'm trying to get all my units outside of my deployment zone by the end of the game, whereas Matt is trying to...
I got Linebreaker, First Blood, and kill all your rank and file.
Okay, and Linebreaker, First Blood. Okay, so those 3 each. On to the seas. Drumroll, please. It doesn't happen, and Kotiaz will re-roll. He does! Good job, Kotiaz. Grey Knights turn 1, and the tables have turned. The forces of the Marines advanced. Shooting saw this Dread Knight jump out to cover and burn 4 of the unit of Cabalites in there, but they held. We had the Razorbacks fire into Venoms, forcing this one into Jinking from these 2 Razorbacks back here, but the Knights, the Night Fighting saved it with 1 hull point remaining, whereas the other Razorback shot at that Venom. It did not jink, but it can only snap shoot next turn and took a hull point from the Razorback in the corner. The Centurions moved up, and were only in range of one raider, but I was able to deny the Witch against perfect timing, which means that the cover saves saved that raider from a horrible death. And in the meantime, this Dread Knight shunted up and gained first blood for killing all the Cabalite warriors outside of the Venom.
Yay!
Denying me first blood. Dark Eldar turn 1. The Dark Eldar had to make a dilemma, splitting their forces, dealing with 2 Dread Knights. This Dread Knight fell down to Venom cannon fire, and the Ravager in the corner here, these guys could see him through that door. I hit with about 90% of all my shots from the Venoms, and the armor saves were not too hot for the Dread Knight, losing its 4 wounds relatively quickly, leaving the Grotesques with the Homunculus out in the open, ready to get mulched by the upcoming reserves and the Centurion star. In this flank, these units moved up as well to target this Dread Knight. In another flurry of great armor save rolling, the Dread Knight died to about 6 wounds that were caused in total. So, 2 Dread Knights down. Wow, what a turn for the Dark Eldar. Let's see what the Grey Knights can do with their reserve rolls.
2 Terminator squads. Perfect. And the Scouts. I'll use Tiggy's ability to reroll that.
The Scouts have arrived. They shot everything into the Venom and did nothing with the crack grenade and the pistols, trying to take out another kill point. In the Psychic phase, the Grey Knights did absolutely nothing with about 15 dice. We'll talk about Psychic Death Stars and Psychic Powers in the Tactical Corner. In movement, they only moved about 3 inches, and combined shooting of the entire star did kill the 3 Grotesques that were out in the open, while the Homunculus is alive now to run away. In other shooting, the Razorback shot at tanks ineffectively, and now it is Dark Eldar turn 2 with the Coven. 2 units of Cabalite warriors. I will re-roll the one of the ones that came in. Yep, they don't come in. And then I have a Disintegrator Razewing. And I'm going to re-roll that to try and stop him from coming in. And a Lance Razorwing, and I'm going to try re-roll that to bring him in. And he does. The Razorwing came in, put 1 hull point on the Razorback. Then we had this Raider and that Ravager fire into the Razorback and wreck it. But because it was the Raider that did the last point, I did not get a kill point, because I'm playing modified kill points here. Then this Raider boosted back from behind there in order to save the Homunculus and the Raider, and all my Venoms lined up here, well, all but one, to fire into the Centurions, killing 1 Centurion and putting 1 wound on another. Meanwhile, this Ravager is moving up to boost into the corner for later in the game, and these Cabalite warriors fired into the Scouts that are here, together with this Venom, killing 4 of their number and leaving 1 survivor that is not the Sergeant. So now we're moving on to Grey Knight, Ultramarine, and Inquisition. Turn 3, Reserves.
Yay.
They both arrive. The Terminators are here. At last, some Dark Eldar stuff starts dying. The Scout killed the last Cabalite warrior, gaining a token. The Terminators killed the Venom that had 1 hull point remaining, getting a token. The Centurions actually fully buffed up this turn and killed that Venom. Did not kill that Venom, gaining another token, while this Razorback on there killed this Venom over here, gaining a token, and these Terminators here did nothing to this Raider. Well, they did 1 hull point, and it jinked, so it's okay. So, in reserve, I have a Razorwing to come on, and it does, and I have 2 units of Cabalite warriors, and they arrive. The reserves have arrived. Both units of Cabalite warriors came on this flank, helped fire into the Terminators and the Acolyte unit, killing 1, but they passed their morale test. The Grotesque and the Archon charged into a depleted unit of Terminators, killing 2 in the combat. They are tied in combat. Whereas this Ravager boosted off to the flank here to start helping against the 2 Razorbacks with their Conqueror of Cities special rules, so they're all stealth in ruins. It killed the wounded Centurion with a venom, as the venoms moved back and fired into them, and both Razorwings and the Ravager fired into the Terminators, and thanks to some nice invulnerable saves, one Terminator with a Psy Cannon is left alive, while the Cabalite Warriors in the back killed the last Scout. So we're moving on to Centurion's turn 4. The Grey Knight Terminator died to the Archon in combat as he failed an armor save against the Agonizer. In the Psychic phase, the Acolyte tried to Psychic Shriek this unit, but I denied the Witch. The Centurion Star moved forward, got beefed up except for Prescience, and put 2 hull points on this Razorwing and 1 hull point on this Razorwing, while this Terminator forced this Venom into jinking and charged, but did not do any damage because he's only strength 4 as a Grey Knight Terminator. So we're moving on to Dark Eldar, turn 4. The limping Razorwing moved up and boosted towards the table edge, because you can't boost off the table. The 2 Venoms moved around and shot into the Terminator, and this Venom knocked the Terminator out, while these 2 units stayed out of line of sight of the Centurions to negate them from doing much next turn. On this flank, I was able to kill this unit here with the unit of Cabalite Warriors inside this Raider that moved into the Raider after it moved over. The other unit of Cabalite Raiders moved into the other Raider with the Homunculus and boosted up this flank here, while the Archon and his unit made a 10-inch charge, so they rolled a 10 to make an 8-inch charge through terrain to wreck the Razorback that had 2 hull points knocked off it by both Ravagers and the Lance. So we're moving on to what could be the end of the game. Turn 5, my Razorwing disappeared into ongoing reserve with the disintegrated cannons to come on later in the game. All the psychic powers failed horribly again, except for one, which was a Nova power that targeted everybody with a 9, killing 3 of the warriors because I passed a lot of Feel No Pains, and now Soul Blaze is going to try and hit them. It's a Nova power. It does for an extra 3 hits at strength 4. That does 1 wound, and I get 1 Feel No Pain, and he is okay, which is a trend for the Dark Eldar. 2 Psychic Shrieks. I denied one, and the other one failed to hit against the Adamantium-willed Grotesques with the Helm of Spite. And all shooting into the Razorwing did nothing. We are now moving into the end of the game. Could be Dark Eldar turn 5. The Razorwing came on the board. "I've been expecting you," said Cotias. Blah, blah, blah. They all died. The Razorwing did land exploding on the 1 Centurion and caused a wound. That was the glory there. Both Venoms moved up. Forgot to turbo boost them. We're playing for a tournament, so I'm not going to be moving them up. We had the Razorwing move on up there, the Ravager move up as well and not do anything, and then the Warriors move up as well. In this movement we had a whole bunch of movement around here. The Ravagers finally exploded that last Razorback, giving me another point, and my Archon detached from the Grotesque unit. The Grotesque charged 1 Acolyte unit, the Archon charged the other one in order to get the Archon a point for modified kill points as well, to try and bring that total up. So, it is the end of turn 5, and I'm going to get Matt to roll. He needs it to go on another turn.
Why? Because it's a single die roll?
Because I can roll it if you want, die. And it continues. The Centurions moved up and weren't able to get Line Breaker, but the Librarian broke off and did a Nova to kill the Warriors finally, and he is okay, so he got another point there. Meanwhile, the Centurions buffed up and with their ignore cover weapons killed both these Venoms here, bringing the kill point total up. And now moving on to Dark Eldar. Ravager moved up, killed the Librarian with a 1 shot. All the Lances that could tried to fire at Tigerius to make him fail a Gatso roll. That didn't happen, but we put 1 wound on another Centurion. And now it's the end of turn 6. Let's see what happens. Does the game continue? It does. It's going on one last turn. They moved around, moved in to claim Linebreaker with Kotiaz, and all the Centurions fired after failing Prescience, putting 1 hull point and immobilizing that Ravager. And that is it. Can the Dark Eldar kill at least one more unit? Because as it stands, it might be a very slight victory for the Space Marines. Let's see if the Dark Kin can pull something out at the end. All the lances that fired killed the Centurions, but Tigerius and Tiggy and Kotiaz are completely unscathed, staring down at the Dark Eldar forces swarming all around, taking all the population to their place in Comar. So we shall return with the point count. It's going to be tight. Okay, so the points are in. It is a Dark Eldar victory by 2 points. The Dark Eldar had modified kill points. They had inflicted 9 and had suffered 7 modified kill points. So they got 2 points for that. 2 points for Linebreaker. And 2 points for having all their units out of their deployment zone at the end of the game. The Centurion Star had 0 points. We each did 11 kill points to each other, so that zeroed it out. But he got Linebreaker and First Blood for 4 points. So by a slim margin of 2 points and only having 2 models left on the board, it was a very light loss for the Centurion Star. They had it at the end of turn 6. They had it at the end of turn 6, and it turned around turn 7 for the Dark Kin. So, Matt, last words.
Single die rolls! I rolled really, really, really horribly this game. Like, I'm going to blame it on the dice rolling. I rolled horribly.
Doesn't happen very often.
I didn't get any of the powers I needed. I got 2 of the powers that I needed, and then I couldn't cast them. Any single armor save I had to make, I rolled a 1.
Pretty much.
And no, I'm not even kidding when I say I made like 15. And the Centurion Star really, really, really needs the mobility, especially against a fast-moving army. So, yeah. It was a great game, though. We had a lot of fun.
Oh, I had a lot of fun. It was crazy. The Dark Eldar had it early in the game, but the Centurion Star just kept on coming back, and it was a nail-biter to the very end. Having a lot of fun with this army. In the Tactical Corner, we'll talk a couple of different tactical things, like the reliance on psychic powers in order to beef up your unit, because it's definitely not as reliable as it used to be back in other editions of the game. And I hope you enjoyed the battle report. Sub, like, comment, let me know what you think. Sorry about the non-painted armies, but Matt is painting his army, and we will have a fully painted battle report with his army once it's completed. This is Skari, your grateful host, signing off, and stay tuned for the Tactical Corner. Hello and welcome to another Tactical Corner. So, this game was quite the test for the army in itself. Matt had brought an optimized Centurion Star list, and of course, the dice games begin. He did not get invisibility, but he did get ignore cover. So this list is designed to put a lot of pressure on the opponent and then use the reserves to leverage the threat of the Dread Knights. And seizing the initiative really put Matt on the high end, being able to get First Blood and really making me have to deal with both Dread Knights straight away as the Centurion Star moved up. Now, I did get very lucky on the first turn, being able to deal with both Dread Knights. I was hoping to just tie them up with the Grotesques, and I was hoping to maybe instant kill them with the Flesh Gauntlets. This then let me maneuver around, and that's how the game panned out. But what I really wanted to touch on was the reliability of psychic powers within the new 7th edition framework. Matt was really banking on making that Centurion Star nigh invincible, and even with a base 15 power dice plus the d6, he was getting maybe 3 or 4 powers off per turn, And there was a couple of phases where, even with Tigerius's reroll and rolling quite a few number of dice, he wasn't able to beef that Centurion star up to its maximum potential, allowing the Dark Eldar to keep up with the pace of the game and not lose too many units over the course of the game, being a kill point game. So the question goes out to you. Do you bank on the psychic phase to make your army, or do you shy away from it altogether? Needless to say, the dice do play an important part in the game, but how much are you willing to bank on them in order to achieve your goals? So that's the question I leave you with. Thanks a lot for watching. Stay tuned for the next battle report. This is Skara, your grateful host, signing out.